Um, Today, if you look up here, it says using context to determine meaning. And we're going to focus on the First Amendment. I'm going to go down so First Amendment says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Okay, this is pretty relevant today because, as you've seen, a lot of the protests going on in our country are covered by this, especially the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievance. Okay, so the grievance is, basically the way the police treat most notably, black people in our country. And that's the grievance. And that's what they're protesting. And, it basically it got really big after George Floyd, was killed. So that is really the grievance is kind of how our police handle, themselves. And this has been going on and it really came to a head. There's probably in the last 10 years, it maybe even started in Ferguson when Barack Obama was president. So really, these protests, and they're happening in Rochester. They happened yesterday when the people, I think they did it on 490. So basically, our Constitution allows us to peacefully assemble, okay, and to petition the government because we want change. And that's really what the First Amendment covers. And right here, this is exactly how it's stated in the Constitution. But we want to go back up here and look at context. Okay. So it's a pretty wordy document. And what it says up here, wait, I don't know that word. Because some of that is, if you didn't know exactly what every word in there, it could be kind of confusing. So we're going to try to break it down. So it says there's many times when you're studying or taking a test, you'll come across a word or an idea that you don't know. Being able to use context as well as your resource to determine what is the word the idea means is a very valuable comprehension skill. But how do you do this? See the examples below for some steps that you can follow. Okay, use prior knowledge. What do you already know about this word? Ask yourself, in what form may have you seen the word or idea before? Maybe you only seen part of the word, but what did it mean? So you might not know exactly the context, be like, oh, I've seen this word used in something else. So that way, if it's used for that, maybe it means this in here. So you're basically trying to draw on your prior knowledge of when have I seen this word or idea before? Okay, the second one says, ask yourself questions about the word in the context in which it was found. Is a word in a document about a specific subject? Based on the content of the article and the sentence, what might the word be about? If you took the word out and substitute another word in the sentence, what might that word be? What part of the speech is the word? So in this one, your First Amendment, and the amendments are about rights. We've talked about that. That's rights given to the people. So you're going to say, well, First Amendment has something to do with rights that we have. And if you go down and look at this again, so this is about rights. Congress, what they can make no laws. And basically, so you're getting an idea that this is about our government and the rights that people have. Okay, so that will give you some context. Okay, visualizing. Try to take a picture in the situation or idea in that passage overall is describing. Where is the event taking place and what time period? Seeing the big picture can often help you understand the word. And you're going to know Bill of Rights. Well, that was the original 10 amendments that were designed when we were forming our country. So you kind of get an idea that our founders were coming up with this document about rights for the people. So if you can visualize that, that might be helpful too. Okay, then it says inferring. What do you understand from reading in the passage that is not already in the passage? For example, based on the questions you've already asked yourself, what do you know? What do you know the passage is about? What might the particular word you're struggling with be based on the overall content of the passage? Okay, so for this one, for example, the Bill of Rights, if you didn't know what redress of grievances are, you might know what a grievance is. You know, that's like something you have with someone else. You have a grievance with someone. It's like a beef. So, what are we beefing with our government about? And you can be like, oh, these are about rights. So, some rights that basically maybe they're taking away or infringing on. So, if you just pull out that one word and you don't know it, then you basically go up to it said inferring. Oh, I kind of know what a grievance is. Okay. Using your resources. It is true that you're taking official tests, you won't have many resources available as you're studying alone. However, it makes all important to use resources available to you as you study. Do you have a dictionary available? Look the word up. Are you in a classroom with peers? Ask them if they have an idea. The more you can learn now, the more you'll know when you take the test. Okay. And if we're doing this in class, we're going to do an exercise afterwards where we'd all kind of give our own interpretation of really what the First Amendment means. And the last one, you want to summarize and synthesize. This last step is perhaps the most important step of all. When you have learned a new word or idea, be sure to put the definition in your own words and relate it to your own life. This will make sure that the knowledge you have gained will stay with you past today. So you're just trying to put that in something you can understand and you'll remember after the class. Okay, so this is an exercise we would have done in class. Okay, so we're going to pick new word or idea. If I get down to the First Amendment, we'll use abridging. Okay, so if you look at this word abridging right here, well, we kind of know what a bridge is. It gets us from one place to another. Okay, and abridging, basically, we know what bridging is, and a bridging, so maybe it's stop the bridging. So maybe it's stopping us from getting one place to another. So if you went up here, what prior knowledge do you have about the topic? Well, you know, a bridge usually connects, like if a bridge goes over a river, it gets you from one side to the other. Okay, so you kind of get an idea. You get an idea of what a bridge is. Okay, question: what part of speech is the word? In what context does it occur? Well, bridge is a noun. It's a person, place, or thing. Okay, and what context does it occur? Well, like I said, the bridge usually occurs in it getting us from one place to another. Okay, or over a river, or maybe over a ravine or something. So it takes you from one place to another. In the visualizing, you get an idea. You can visualize a bridge. Okay, and that might help you. Then you have to infer down here. What is not written on the page you can use to help you understand what it is? So what is something that might help you remember, like a bridge or a bridging? Okay. You know, I guess if you think about if there wasn't a bridge, you know, just think about how far you'd have to walk around that river. Maybe it makes it easier to travel sometimes, or allows you to get from maybe one island to another. That way you don't have to take a boat, you can take a car. So you just try to infer really what the bridge is going to do. Using your resources. If you didn't know what a bridge was, you know, we would have a discussion in class. Does anyone know what a bridge means? And then maybe someone says, well, I know what a bridge dictionary is. It's kind of a shortened dictionary. It gives you just basically just the core context, because some dictionaries are like 1,200 pages. And a bridge dictionary is just a shorter version of that. Okay, so maybe you think, okay, it's maybe a shorter version. Okay, or whatever someone comes up with for bridging. And then you're just going to put summarizing and synthesizing. You're just going to put that in your own words. Okay. whatever you want to do to help you remember it. So the last thing we would do today is you would try to put this First Amendment right here into your own words. So the First Amendment in your own words. Congress shall make no law respecting establishment of religion. So basically, this one basically says that really you can't just, our government can't make any law about religion. You're free to practice any religion. So then it says prohibiting the free exercise. So what that means is it lets you exercise any religion you want. Abridging the freedom of speech. So we know bridge gets you from one side to the other. So a bridge is kind of blocking that off. So they can't block your freedom of speech. And this is our Congress, can't block freedom of speech. They can't basically block the press. Okay, so it says freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievance. So that just means for us to demonstrate to basically about something we don't like. I mean, there's been protests in our country almost from day one. During the Vietnam War, people were protesting. You have the women's marches protesting that women aren't treated equally in our country. Now we have the social justice protests. So basically, Congress can't make any law saying you can't do that. So this is all about, remember, we talked about the Bill of Rights. Those are rights that are guaranteed to us. So this one just says Congress can't take away any of those. Those are basically things we always have. So it's like the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and the right to basically protest. And that's peacefully to assemble. And assemble, a lot of times, you know, we're kind of protesting something, whatever it may be, okay? And to petition the government for our grievances. So that's really what the First Amendment comes down to. And this is how it's written, okay? It's kind of, you know, lawyerly. So what you want to do is just make it so I basically can remember. First Amendment's about speech, religion, and maybe say protest. You can think of those things. So freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and freedom to protest. You've really gotten the First Amendment in a nutshell. You know, and sometimes, like I said, there's going to be words in here you're not sure of, like abridging the freedom of speech. You're just going to see a bridge basically connects us. So that bridge lets us always have freedom of speech. When they abridge it, that means kind of blocking it. So that's trying to take away our freedom of speech or the press or the right to assemble. And sometimes you're just going to have to look at the word and kind of get a context of it. And this one, I think the hardest one would be abridging, okay? So that's really what you might have to do once in a while on science and maybe even social studies, or even, you know, if you're doing the writing part and there's a word in the writing you're not sure about, you just go up here and kind of use your prior knowledge, try to visualize, try to infer, questioning, what part of speech is it? That'll all give you basically kind of context of a better way to understand the word. You might not completely understand it, but you can kind of get a better idea of what the word means, okay? So this is up in our social studies class. And if you want at the end, just try to go through that First Amendment and just try to write it how you can basically remember it, because the First Amendment might come up on the social studies exam. Okay, that's all I got for today. Thanks, and everyone have a great day.